Hello, how are you? This week's video covers the fourth part of my marvelous and never-ending painting saga. Are we stuck here for all eternity? Who knows? I will confess, I didn't get as much painting done this week as I would have liked, mostly because I got held up randomly by a giant turkey who tried bullying me into giving him my lunch money. So I threw him in an oven for 7 hours, and then I ate him. But that's not really why we're here. Also, if at any point I sound like I'm rambling, it's because this video is not scripted. At all. Please pray for me. Anyway, let's get on with the video. With 3 of the dragons mostly done already, I spent much of the week making refinements and covering up mistakes and other things like that. Now, despite having 3 of the dragons mostly done, the other 2 weren't done entirely. And I told myself I was gonna try and get this done before Thanksgiving. Sad times. Anyway, here I am filling out the light dragon's fins and tail, and I'm gonna be adding stars in a few minutes. For some reason, the light dragon was the hardest one to design. I have no idea why. That and the fish aren't even fully painted in yet. But I promise they will be at some point. Maybe. Hopefully in the next millennium. Coloring in the fins and tail of the light dragon was a slightly different process from the other dragons because I wanted there to be some sort of gradient effect. So it's mostly just me painting and blending and stuff. Stuff. You gotta love it. I really should be more descriptive, and I really should have scripted this, but we're here. Anyway, if you've been paying attention since the beginning, you'll know that I've been using oil paint to make this painting. And you may also know that oil paint takes a really long time to dry. I'm talking like days. And honestly, waiting for the paint to dry before I could start another layer was starting to give me burnout. So, in my ever-infinite wisdom and patience, and my ever-expanding brain, I decided to experiment. Yes, people of the internet. We're switching to acrylics. Again, pray for me. After switching to acrylics, mixing the colors to match the colors on the canvas was a bit of a challenge, considering my acrylic colors were different from my oil colors, but I still managed to make it work. Here you can see me fixing a section of the wave, because honestly I didn't really like how it looked. There are a bunch of other things I want to polish as well, including the seafoam, because I don't really like how that looks either. I also took some time to cover up what was left of the underpainting, so I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. I have also noticed that the fish's tail fins are different from each other, so that's probably gonna get fixed too. If not, it's just gonna keep driving me insane. Anyway, among the many things I chose to refine and polish this week, I also redefined some of the outlines that I accidentally covered up when I was working with the oil paint. Man, is it just me or do I kinda sound like a horse? Anyway, it's water time. Oh yeah. As I was saying, this was a holiday week, and I spent much of the day after Thanksgiving continuing to paint. And much of the footage in this video is actually from Friday. So I spent a good few hours painting, and you can also see my dad in the background watching a movie. Unfortunately, it did not seem like it was a good movie, because he would later go on to tell me that it was 2 hours of his life that he'll never get back. So as I said, this was in fact a holiday week, because last Thursday was Thanksgiving in the US, and that meant both of my parents were home, and I got to stuff my face with mashed potatoes. We also had a dinner party, and some of our relatives came over, so that was a bit of fun. Mashed potatoes weren't the only thing I ate, as I ate some other stuff, including some cheesecake that I made myself. Although I'm not gonna lie, it's a good thing I didn't make this a Cooking with Christine episode, because the making of that cheesecake was an atomic disaster, and if I put that on camera, yeah. No. But hey, at least it tasted good. So yeah, both of my parents were home, and sometimes you'll see the patio door open in the back. That's just my mom going in and out, sometimes to appreciate my painting. So now I'm adding a darker color to the light dragon's fins to round out the shading, and it's really just a mix of yellow and orange. I've noticed that there is some struggle of blending with acrylics if it's wet paint on dry paint, and I've noticed that blending wet paint with wet paint will give you better results. But to be honest, I might just use acrylic paint for the rest of the way, because 1, I'm tired of having to wait for days for paint to dry, and 2, I need to stimulate my brain. And also because this commission has taken way too long, and thinking about it makes me want to cry. Not really, but still. So here you can see me finally adding the stars. I made them different sizes, and I also put some constellations in for some variety. And I didn't just do it for the tail either. At a later point, I also painted in the scales and added some definition to the light dragon's body. When I go back to this painting, I'm probably gonna focus on the outlines and also defining the moon, because as of right now, it's just one big white circle in the center of the painting. So I'm gonna have to get a few more reference images for that, because reference is your best friend. This has been a tip from an art school grad. Also, I'm not sure if you saw me getting briefly distracted by what my dad was watching, but I digress. What you're gonna see in the next few moments is just me putting more stars and adding shadows and highlights, but in a little bit you're gonna see a blunder from me. To be an artist is to suffer. Or maybe it's to blend colors is to suffer. Whatever the case, something did happen, and I had to quickly fix my mistake. Anyway, time for me to go on a brief tangent, cause I've got nothing else to talk about. Now that Thanksgiving is over, or as I like to call it, Foodsgiving, because let's be real, it's all about the food. We're about 3 weeks away from Hanukkah, and about a month away from Christmas, or as I like to call it, capitalist holiday. But sometimes I also call it Giftmas, because picking out a good Christmas gift is kinda challenging, but also a lot of fun. Also, can we talk about the fact that there's a little more than a month left in the year? Where is the time? Was it eaten? Who knows? Somebody help us, we're all getting old. Anyway, what holidays do you celebrate? Let me know in the comments. Back to the painting, this part is mostly just me fixing more minor mistakes, like cleaning up lines and painting over stuff that no longer fits the painting or just doesn't make sense. Speaking of things not making sense, I'm not sure if I caught this on camera, but I added some more fins to the moon dragon, that being the black dragon with the blue fins, because it needed them. Like, could you imagine a dragon that's based on a fish and it has no side fins? Stuff of nightmares. Also, I took the time to add some details to the rock dragon, like adding some defining highlights and outlining its tail. That, and I also added some more highlights on the amethyst formations. I tried to make the highlights match up more with the light source, and I tried making the cracks in its body look like they were glowing, almost. Well, at the very least, I wanted to make them a little brighter, so I went with a pinkish white color to do that. I'm not sure how I feel about those highlights being pink and not purple, so I'm gonna have to look at it again, and I'll decide whether or not I want to paint over those, but we'll see about that. Even though this painting looks almost done, there's still a number of things I want to do before I can consider it presentable, like filling out the moon and putting in the metallic details that I've always wanted to put in. Even though it is for my aunt, it's still a commission, and I don't feel any pressure to make it look perfect at all. Ha! Well, okay, I'm fully aware that finished and perfect are sworn rivals, but still. I was hoping to get this done before Thanksgiving, but now I'm hoping I can finish it before the end of the year. At least, if I can do that, I will be very happy with myself. So yeah. And that concludes the 4th part of this painting saga. If you made it to the end, thank you for sticking around, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more drawings and book talks and stuff from me. Will this painting saga ever be finished? Who knows? I don't. But if this is part 4, then that can only mean we're in it for the long haul, so strap your butts in, we're boarding the chaos train. So yeah, stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.